starting conversations that ends conversation.
Why is your wife divorcing you?
Better way of starting conversations that ends conversation. Funny.
Hello and welcome to another exciting rendition of Tina and Karen Do the Tube. I, of course, am Karen. Tina is not here at the moment. He is off finding himself. He got lost, so that's why he's finding himself, and hopefully he'll find his way back. Now, I'm about to talk about one of the most controversial subjects facing this country today. Something that's so divisive, so polarizing, so... I can't think of another word. I'm going to talk about Game of Thrones, of course. And why you're going to listen to this review of Game of Thrones as opposed to all the other Game of Thrones reviews out there that are so much betterly edited, betterly thought out, and not as intoxicated as mine. Don't know. You're probably just surfing the web, and you're tired of all the people dissing on this brilliance of an episode. That's right. This is a positive review of Season 8, Episode 5, The Bells. No way of knowing if that's the actual title of the episode. I saw it on one review, and that's good enough for me. This has turned out to be one of the most controversial and just disappointing episodes for a lot of people, and I don't see it. I actually enjoyed the episode heavenly. I loved it. And we're going to go into that a little bit about why so many people are wrong about Daenerys. But quickly, I have to remind you, this is a spoiler review. So if you haven't seen the episode yet, why are you watching reviews of it? You're trying to ruin the experience of seeing something new. Trying to ruin the experience. And I'm just going to share my opinions on it. I feel like, fuck it, I've been drinking, so I got opinions. You ever noticed about men? Men are far more opinionated when you get a little drinks in them. They're not very opinionated any other time of the year. They can go all day, do their tasks, and not have a single thought across their mind that's of worth sharing. A few beers in, politics, religion, science, culture, anything. All right. It tends to be that way. I've noticed myself. These are topics I would never talk about sober, but I love talking about them when I'm, drinking. Normally when I'm sober, I just talk about women, sports. Yeah. Okay, so my thoughts about Episode 5, The Bells. To me, perfect episode. It's everything I want, and a lot of people are complaining that that's the problem, is somewhat the episode feels like fan service. They gave the people everything they wanted, but in slightly different ways. It was like, once again, subverting expectations in a Rian Johnson sort of way. Well, fuck Rian Johnson. He doesn't know what he fucking knows. He fucking ruined Star Wars. Which is saying a lot, because I thought George Lucas ruined Star Wars, but my God, there was pits of hell much deeper than George Lucas could sink. And Rian Johnson found him. But, my review of Last Jedi will be for another day. No one's going to listen to a review of Last Jedi 2 years after the fact. Maybe I'll post my Last Jedi review about a day before the Rise of Skywalker comes out, which I am debating whether I'm going to see or not. I'm seriously questioning it, because on the one hand, I am contractually obligated to go see a Star Wars film when it comes out, because I am a nerd. But at the same time, I was so disappointed by Last Jedi. I don't want to keep giving Disney my money. Fucking make better movies. You do a fucking fantastic job with Marvel. Why is Star Wars so hard? They fucking don't know what they're doing. Okay, so the episode, it has a lot of scenes building up to what most people will get into it. Spoiler, that most people just like it jumped the shark. This is the end of Game of Thrones. It's never going to recover. There's only one episode left, so recovery doesn't mean much. But I loved the interactions between Tyrion, Varys, and Daenerys in this episode. I saw Varys was, to be fair, Varys in season 1 has been right about everything. For a man without a cock, he does well for himself. And I've always been on Varys' side because he's not. He has no allegiance to any one person as much as he has principles. He has an allegiance for principles, and he did see Daenerys as a principled leader. And it's true. This is something a lot of fans have a hard time accepting about their beloved Daenerys. And believe me, I love her too. I love that she's a badass conqueror. I love that she actually tries to do the right thing. But if anyone out there thinks that the message of Game of Thrones is that it's good versus evil, then they haven't been paying attention. The words of Ramsay. The whole series has been about characters who have very gray area moral codes. It's not a good versus evil story. I mean, Jon Snow might be your only example of a good character at this point, right? Is he the only character who has done nothing wrong in a moral aspect? Try to think about that. Has Jon done anything that you would find morally corrupt? No. Daenerys has. She had done plenty of times. She had made it very clear throughout the season. Oh, I've seen a lot of people saying, oh, they ruined her character arc just for the shock value. No, they didn't. Okay, so for those who haven't seen the episode yet, Daenerys, after conquering King's Landing, after defeating the Gold Company, after defeating the Lannister army, they had given Cersei a chance to surrender. Tyrion asked Daenerys, if the bells ring, Cersei's surrendering, and we can have peace. But in the climax of the episode, which is not really the climax, it's 30 minutes before the climax, the bells start to ring, and no one knows who rang them because Cersei's nowhere near there. The bells start to ring, which basically says, Daenerys, you're now our queen. Cersei's surrendering. The war is over. Daenerys can't handle it. Daenerys, you can just see this looking at her. She's just so anxious. She's so panicked that she just goes on this rampage killing. Because in her mind, the only way she can rule Westeros is through fear. The people of Westeros will never love her. She's goddamn right about that, I'll tell you. But we'll get into the politics of Game of Thrones in a second. But as a character choice, people who are saying that doesn't fly with Daenerys' characters, just it hasn't been paying attention, really. Because like I can go back to season 2 with Daenerys and find quotes. Let me see. Hold on here a second. I'm going to actually do it. Let's find quotes from Daenerys. Quotes from Daenerys Stormborn. Targaryen. Oh, that's the same word. Okay. When my dragons are grown, we will take back what was stolen from me and destroy those who wronged me. In her mind, everyone in Westeros who backed Robert Baratheon had wronged her. And the people generally like Robert Baratheon. I will take what is mine with fire and blood. Oh, jeez. I hate the fact that I clicked on this. The title of this headline is 16 Daenerys Targaryen quotes to inspire your new feminist mantra. God, I hate feminism. But these quotes will probably be good. All men must die, but we are not men. So, okay. Valar Morghulis. I get it. All men must die. But that's her philosophy. Must kill. I will take what is mine with fire and blood. Fire cannot take a no one will take my dragons. Let's see. Okay, I am Daenerys Stormborn of House Targaryen, of the blood of old Valyria. I am the dragon's daughter, and I swear to you that those who would harm you will die screaming. Dracarys. I will answer injustice with justice. That's how she sees herself. She sees herself as the hand of justice. The next time you raise a hand to me will be... No, that one's okay. The next time you raise a hand to me will be the last time you have hands. That's just sort of eye for an eye. I'm okay with that one. I am the blood of the dragon. You were small. No. Okay, so there was a few, though. I feel like there was a few quotes there that really just sort of depict her as a very authoritarian type personality. She believes herself to be justice incarnate, and she will enact that justice. Of course, at the same time, so let's throw out the very obvious answer as to why she went crazy. It runs in the blood. Okay, Her father, the Mad King, her brother was a dickhead. It's just like what the expression, when a Targaryen is born, the gods flip a coin, and for good reason. They're all incestual. I mean, there's a good reason that like madness runs in the family. I don't believe that's the sole reason for her madness. I think it was genuinely justified why she went crazy, but I mean, yeah. It's been foreshadowed for a long time with some of these quotes. These are going back to season 2. She has been an authoritarian type character. I like to look at like the show as between Jon Snow and Daenerys, the two main characters of the series. It's undebatable. Those are the two main characters of the series. It's sort of a contrast between the old ways and the new ways. The old ways is represented by Daenerys. She got everything she acquired through conquering, through violence, through fear. And it doesn't mean that she's not just in her actions. It doesn't. Because she had a good mission in Essos. Free the slaves. It's a good mission. She was right for doing it. And sometimes change needs to come at the tip of a sword. So, or in her case, the flames of a dragon breath. So it's totally justified. I'm not taking that away from her. But that is who she's been. The problem with this is Westeros doesn't have slaves. So what's her mission in Westeros? What's her grand goal? The only reason she wanted Westeros is because she was raised her entire life to believe that it was her birthright to have that throne. She was raised by her brother. She was raised by that old man from episode 1 who kind of raised her. She was told that by Jorah. She's basically just been told her whole life that you're going to be greeted in Westeros as a hero. You're going to be greeted as a liberator. You're going to be greeted as a goddess and a queen. That didn't happen. She was instead greeted as a foreigner and an invader and a tyrant. As much as Cersei was a tyrant, she didn't burn down the whole city. Now, Cersei's done a lot of evil things. I'm not taking that away from her. Props to my girl. She's done a lot of evil things. Killed a bunch of babies, blown up a lot of innocent people at the Sept. Well, actually, I don't think they were innocent, but she's using a lot of nefarious ways to get her way. Okay, so now compare Daenerys, who bought slaves so she could use a dragon. She traded her dragon for slaves. That was all a ploy, I understand. But she killed the man she made a trade with, and he deserved it. Once again, anyone who owns slaves, I'm not in favor of. She deserved it, and therefore she killed to get her army. Even before that, the Dothraki, they weren't known as the good guys. They were violent. They were savage. They loved to fight. They raped. They pillaged. They stole. They did everything wrong. And she was almost okay with it. I'm not saying she was okay with it. Because she did actually go to Drogo and say, I don't like this. But that's how she got her way. That's how she got to be who she was. And then she conquered Valeris. Then she conquered Mehran with the Second Sons. And she conquered everyone. And good for her. Now, take Jon, for instance. Jon is the ushering in of the new. Jon had no claim to anything. He was elected the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. He was chosen by the Wildlings as one of their own. He was chosen by the houses of the North to be their king. He is the democratic process. The ways of the new, something that's solely new. A lot of people are predicting that's sort of what the end of Game of Thrones would be. It'd be an ushering in of democracy and a republic. Jon is the republic. Daenerys is the old ways, unfortunately. Doesn't mean she's not just. It just means that her methods are power. Power is the only way to influence people. That's not right. You can have leadership, competency, and Jon displayed that in abundance over the course of 7 seasons. So yeah, that sort of explains that. So she hasn't been this goody two shoes character that she's been on the right path because she had the right goals. But like I said, Westeros doesn't have slaves. So what's your mission in Westeros? It was simply to gain the throne. That's it. That's not a noble goal. What she had in Essos was a noble goal. Go back to Essos, be a good ruler, and that would have been great. Instead, she had been raised to believe she was the rightful queen. And then she finds out all of a sudden that no one in Westeros wants her. And furthermore, this guy Jon Snow here, he has actually a better claim to the throne. That's got to mess with her head, okay? She had basically sacrificed so much in the pursuit of this throne. She had sacrificed her husband, her baby. She had sacrificed the Dothraki. She had sacrificed 2 dragons. She had sacrificed so much in order to gain this throne. And it's based on nothing. It's based on a lie. It's based on covered up truth. Which is a shame for her. But that had to drive her mad. Throwing on top of that, she loses her top advisor. Oh, and this is actually another good point. So her 2 top advisors are going to go with Tyrion and Missandei. Tyrion, she did not trust at this point in the series. He had basically gone behind her back too many times. With Varys, with Jaime, with Jon, with Cersei. He just was wrong about Cersei. I don't think he went behind her back with Cersei. So why would she trust his opinion at this point? Really, honestly. Why would he trust his opinion? As opposed to Missandei, who's been loyal to her the entire time. And she gave her last order as Dracarys, meaning burn. So her her true trusted advisor gave her the mission, burn them. And the guy who's probably on the right path but has wronged her too many times said, no, show restraint. Well, I would kind of think, where is your allegiance truly lied? Is it truly lied towards me, or is it lied towards your sister? That question should come up in any rational person's mind. Of course, I don't think Daenerys is rational at this point. So I've talked a lot about Daenerys, and it's because that's been the most polarizing issue with this episode, which to me, it doesn't belong, because people who've been paying attention know that she's actually been down this path a long time. It wasn't rushed. It wasn't forced in. She's burned entire families. Basically, if you look back at her history, her advisors have basically her only show of restraint, that she would be way more violent and tyrannical if not for her advisors. Really. There's a problem with thinking that you know best over everyone else. She is an authoritarian. She always has been, unfortunately. Okay, let's talk about a few of the other points of this episode that I liked and didn't like. The number one thing I liked about this episode was probably the Hound fighting the Mountain. But not just that, it was also the Hound interacting with Arya, who is my favorite pairing in this episode. And Arya was the best part of this episode. She was the best part. And it's saying a lot, because Arya used to be one of my favorite characters the first few seasons. But after she became, overpowered, faceless assassin, she lost a lot of interest in my mind. Oh, yeah, she's badass the way she fights. But she had lost all of her personality. She had lost all of her mission. She just turned into this, oh, yeah, I'm a badass, assassin. What up? You can't touch me. I'm invulnerable. I'm untouchable. Well, that's not human. She was very human for the first couple of seasons, where she would stumble, she would make mistakes, but you knew she was on the right path, right? And she was a complete person. She wasn't a complete person for the last season and a half. So she's bored me. She's really bored me. The fact that she got the Night King kill, I couldn't care less. It actually bored me. But in this episode, when she thanks the Hound for basically saving her from a path of just total vengeance, I would say that is the high point of her story arc. She finally can just go on and live a life again. And Cersei ends up dying. I don't know who's left on her list. I thought Cersei and the Mountain were the last 2 people on her list, and they both died. Not at her hand, and that might disappoint her. But it's still, the point is well made. Okay, now we're gonna go into the Clegane Bowl, as it's been dubbed. Was it a good part of the episode? Absolutely. It was perfectly shot. The dragon breath in the background was a great setting for the overall episode. And then to see the mountain without his mask, without his helmet, perfect. And just like, I would have wanted a little more back and forth between the Hound and the mountain, although the mountain doesn't talk. But the Hound, all he says is, "Why don't you fucking die?" And I think we're all with him on that one because we just want to see the mountain die. We want to see the Hound prevail. But like, how do you defeat a zombie warrior? He can't die. He had like been stabbed so many times in the neck, in the chest, the stomach. Nothing affected him. He gets stabbed in the head, and it still doesn't even affect him. And Clegane, the mountain, don't know his first name, picks up the Hound, crushes his eyes just like he did Oberyn. That part to me was a little fan service. Is it the most effective way to battle to try to crush someone's skull in? I don't know. Maybe it was. That was just fan service. But then the Hound charges at him. They both die, falling from the Red Keep into a pit of fire. Very much enjoyed it. It was great. It was a great resolution for his character. I'm going to miss him. He is probably my favorite character in the whole series, the Hound. But I didn't feel for his death like I have other characters in the past. Because it wasn't meant to be sad. It was actually triumphant. We knew a lot of characters would be dying. He died in an epic way. Then Arya, of course, what to say about her. After she sort of leaves the Red Keep to go sort of leave King's Landing, avoid this. The whole last third of the episode is shot from Arya's point of view. Trying to save people in the streets while Daenerys is just burning them all. To quote the Mad King. The Mad Queen now. Runs in the family. What can I fucking say? Arya. Yeah. I gotta love it. I mean, I really do. I loved Arya in this episode. I think she's one of my favorite characters. I think she's going to be the one who kills Daenerys. I think she will. We wouldn't focus so heavily on her at the very end. And it kind of makes you beg the question. I always thought Jon and Daenerys were the two main characters of the series. Is the main character of this series really Arya? Could be. Seems that way. Right? Who else got that feeling? Leave your comments below. Martin, leave your comments below. Because you're the only one listening. All right. Any last thoughts? Okay, Cersei and Jaime's death. I got nothing. It's nice, I guess. When I watched the episode, I actually liked the way it was done. I'm a little disappointed that Jaime didn't kill her, but I didn't think that was going to happen, really. I thought when Jaime saw Cersei there crying, and he's not going to kill the woman he loves, and her unborn baby, which is his, it would be mental. It would take Jaime's never been that violent or bad a character. He's always been more or less neutral and easily manipulated by Cersei, but I don't think he was evil at any point, right? He was smug in the early seasons. He was smug, and that made him kind of an asshole, but not evil. To kill your pregnant, not wife, pregnant sister who you love would have been too much. They died together. What can I say? I actually know a person who said, it's highly romantic, I loved it. Okay, so there's romance there with your sister. So, as much romance as you can have with your sister. Still, I did like it. I mean, I just don't have much more to say about it. I mean, people think it's anticlimactic that Cersei didn't have a more... no one killed her, I guess. I didn't think anyone needed to kill her. That would have been sort of... It wouldn't fit with her character that someone defeated her. Because I don't think that she's never been a threat. Physically, I mean, obviously. So defeating her in battle would have been not necessary. So killing her would feel like it would feel like killing just a helpless victim at that point. Because Cersei's not a fighter. She never was. It just wouldn't feel right. But I think that's why they did it that way. You can't kill someone who can't put up a fight. That's not who Cersei is. Oh, there's one more thing I want to talk about, and then I'll leave it. It's it's a non-important scene in the long run. But to me, it sums up everything there is to know about Game of Thrones, about why this isn't a show about good and evil, and why this is a show that's far more complex. There's a scene about halfway through the episode where, so everything's gone to hell. Daenerys is torching the city, and the Unsullied and the Dothraki and even the Northerners are fighting unarmed men. There's a scene in which a Northern knight takes a woman into an alley with the implication that Dennis Reynolds, that he's going to rape her. Jon comes to her defense and kills this knight, one of his own men. And I think that scene demonstrates to everyone what Game of Thrones has been about. It's never been about good versus evil. It's been totally about human nature and recognizing the evil that exists in oneself. That night represented... So, if it was a good and evil story, you would never show one of the good guys trying to rape an innocent woman. You would never show that. What was they trying to show? War is hell. And war brings out the worst in all of us. So, Jon is one of those good people who can show restraint and know what is right and what is wrong. So, good for him. But it is not a battle of good versus evil. It's about battling the evil within yourself. Daenerys, I'm sad to say, she lost that battle. She had to take a lot of shit, so I understand how she lost that battle. But her personality was always more prone to it because she believed what she was doing was right. That's the authoritarian mindset. That is the wrong mindset to have, in my opinion. There is not a case of authoritarianism I can believe in. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. It's not good to think that you know best for other people. Trust people. Persuade people, but don't force people. Daenerys had to get everything she had by force. Not by persuasion. Not by demonstrating her competency. That was Jon. I hope in the last episode. I got nothing. I don't know how this next episode's going to go. I can't see a good scenario happening, but we'll see. We'll see. All right. That's my last thoughts of the day. Game of Thrones episode 5. The Bells. We're going to go with that. I loved it. Most people hated it. I loved it because I just saw it coming. I've been saying for years Daenerys was going to go crazy, so I was not shocked by that moment. And so everything else was good. And once you take away that shock of seeing one of your favorite characters turn to darkness, once you get over that, the episode's pretty good. But most people can't get over that because they saw her as a light. She was always prone to this. All right. For Tough Guys Teen and Karen Do the Tube, I am Karen, and adios, amigos. Booyah!